Detach, not because you don't care, but because you do. You didn't come here by accident. Maybe a part of you is searching for peace. If that's true, subscribe to Buddha Pray and stay with this video until the end, because every day this place holds stories made just for your soul. Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you had to walk away, not because you didn't care, but because you cared enough to let go? What if detachment isn't a sign of indifference, but a quiet act of love? What if walking away isn't giving up, but allowing space for someone to return? Is letting go always the right choice? Or is it just a way to avoid pain? Stay with me, because today's story might change the way you see love forever. Title: The Empty Chair on the Porch. In a quiet countryside town nestled between rows of pine trees and old stone fences, there lived an elderly woman named Grace. Every afternoon, without fail, Grace would place a wooden chair on her front porch. Next to it, she'd set down a cup of warm tea, a folded grey blanket, and a small notebook. She never sat in that chair. She simply placed it there and sat beside it, as if waiting for someone. Years ago, Grace had a son. His name was Ethan. He was brilliant, clever, sensitive, deeply thoughtful. But after his father died suddenly in a car accident, something inside Ethan broke. He became distant, angry, restless. As a teenager, he would slam doors, skip school, and lash out at Grace, even when she spoke only in kindness. At first, Grace held him tighter. She tried to heal him with love. She forgave every mistake. She waited up late at night. She apologized for things she didn't do, just to keep peace. But the more she held on, the further Ethan pulled away. On the day he turned 18, he left home. No note, no goodbye, just a silence that echoed louder than any scream. Grace was shattered. For months, she searched. She called friends, hospitals, shelters. She prayed every night, asking the universe to bring her boy back, but Ethan never came. Then one morning, Grace made a decision. She stopped searching, she stopped calling. She didn't give up, but she chose to let go. When a neighbor asked her why, Grace said something the town never forgot. Some people, the more you chase them, the more they run. The harder you try to hold them, the more they disappear. I love him enough to stop trying to control his return. So instead of chasing him, Grace prepared a space. Every day she laid out the same chair, the same tea, the same soft blanket. If Ethan ever came back, he'd know there was always a place for him. A space where he wouldn't be judged, where no questions would be asked, only warmth, an unconditional welcome. 25 years passed. The chair remained. Neighbors came and went, children grew up, the seasons changed. But Grace's ritual never did. Some thought she was foolish, some admired her strength, some whispered that Ethan was probably gone forever. But Grace just smiled. She wasn't waiting out of attachment, she was holding space out of love. Then, one cold autumn morning, a man appeared at the edge of the road, grey in his beard, a tired look in his eyes, a bag slung over his shoulder. He walked slowly to the porch. He saw the chair, the tea, the blanket. He sat down, put his hand on the notebook, and wept. Grace stepped outside, her hair now silver, her back slightly bent, but her smile unchanged. She looked at him and simply said, "You came back. I never stopped saving you a seat." She didn't ask where he'd been. She didn't ask why he left. She didn't need to, because love, true love, doesn't interrogate, it receives. Grace detached, not because she didn't care, but because she cared the right way. She let go of control, but never of compassion. She stopped clinging, but never stopped loving. And in the space her detachment created, Ethan found the way back, not by force, but by choice. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is not to follow them into the storm, but to be the lighthouse they know they can return to, letting go with love. In the story of Grace and Ethan, we see not just a mother and her child, but a lesson that touches the heart of Buddhist wisdom. Detachment is not that you should own nothing, but that nothing should own you. Bhagavad Gita, often quoted in Buddhist reflections. Grace did not stop loving her son. She simply stopped trying to possess the outcome. She let go, not because she gave up, but because she understood something deeper. Real love doesn't chase. Real love creates space. What is detachment truly? In Buddhism, detachment, vairagya or upekkha, doesn't mean apathy or coldness. It doesn't mean we stop feeling. It means we stop clinging. We stop needing people to act a certain way. For us to feel okay, we stop controlling so that love can breathe. As the Buddha taught, attachment brings suffering. 4 noble truths, suffering, dukkha, arises when we hold on to people, to expectations, to identities. We think they should come back, they should treat me better, they owe me, but life owes us nothing, and people come and go according to their own karma. Grace's strength came from her understanding of impermanence, anicca. She didn't fight the fact that Ethan had gone. She accepted it. She still loved him, but she didn't let that love trap her in grief. That is true upekkha, equanimity, the ability to remain balanced in the face of joy and sorrow. The root of suffering is attachment. The Buddha Grace detached from the pain of control. She stayed rooted in metta, loving kindness, but she removed the desire to manipulate time, fate, or her son's path. She didn't follow Ethan into darkness. She became the light he could one day return to. Detachment, indifference. It's important to understand, detachment is not the absence of care, it is the presence of clarity. It's not that you stop loving, you just stop trying to bend love into your own shape. You stop saying, I will only love you if you stay, I will only forgive you if you come back. You start saying, I love you even if you're not ready, and I'll be here when you are. Whatever arises, let it arise. Whatever passes away, let it pass. Do not cling to anything. Majjhima Nikaya. This teaching is not cold, it is liberating. It means you can still love, deeply, fully, honestly, but without attachment to outcome, because once love becomes a demand, it is no longer love, it is need, and need leads to suffering. A question for your soul. Think of someone you've been trying to hold on to, someone you worry about, someone who has hurt you or who has simply drifted away. What would it mean to love them without holding them? Would you still be able to love if they never came back? The practice of loving detachment. Grace's story is a perfect meditation on letting go of control, holding space with love, trusting the process of karma and time. When we practice detachment, We don't push people away, we simply stop pulling, and that in itself creates the peaceful space where healing can begin for them and for us. The Buddha once said, just as a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame. Dhammapada, verse 81. Grace lived like the rock. She wasn't shaken by Ethan's absence. She remained soft in heart, but still in spirit. That's the strength we all seek. In your own life, maybe you are the one who left, or maybe you're the one still waiting. Either way, ask yourself, can I let go without closing my heart? Can I love without demanding? Can I trust that whatever belongs to me will find its way back? Grace didn't stop being a mother. She simply became a master of loving without chains. Letting go is the strongest form of love. Maybe right now you're holding on to something, a person, a relationship, a memory, a version of the past you can't rewrite, a future you can't control. You're holding on because you think if you don't, everything will fall apart. But what if letting go is the only way it can come back to you? Ask yourself this: are you holding on because you love them, or because you are afraid of what life looks like without them? Are you staying because they need you, or because you don't want to feel the emptiness? Are you loving or just fearing loss? These are not easy questions, but truth doesn't live in comfort, it lives in clarity. Detachment isn't walking away, it's standing still, it's refusing to chase, it's refusing to beg, it's choosing to love without expectation, to leave the door open but not drag someone through it, just like Grace did. She didn't scream, she didn't search, she didn't cling, she waited with peace, with patience, with presence. To everyone who has loved someone who left, this is not your failure, this is your lesson, to love like water without trying to hold the ocean in your hands, to care deeply without making their journey your responsibility, to let them go because you love them too much to cage them. Let's talk, really talk. Have you ever loved someone enough to let them go? Have you ever left someone behind and wondered if they still kept a space for you? Do you believe that detachment is strength or weakness? Drop your truth in the comments, even if it's messy, even if it hurts, because someone out there needs to hear they're not the only one learning to let go. A gentle controversy for your reflection. Some people say, if you truly love someone, you fight for them. But others say, if you truly love someone, you let them go. Who's right? Is detachment a higher love or an excuse for giving up? We want to hear from you. Debate it with compassion. Share your story. No judgment, just honesty. What if the greatest gift you can give someone is freedom, not because they asked for it, but because your love is mature enough to offer it unconditionally? That kind of love doesn't chain, it shelters. It doesn't demand, it waits. It doesn't follow into the darkness. It becomes the light they can come home to. So, what can you do right now? Comment below. Tell us, what are you learning to release? Who do you love enough to let go? Share this video. Send it to someone who's struggling with heartbreak, family, or letting go. Be the grace in their life. Let this story be their reminder that love doesn't always chase. Sometimes it waits. Subscribe to Whispers of Dharma. Each story here is more than a video. It's a mirror, a pause, a prayer, a seed for awakening. One last question, straight from the soul. What if your biggest act of love is not what you hold on to, but what you're willing to release? Think about it, and then comment it, live it, share it, because somewhere out there someone's chair is still empty, and your story might be the light they need to find their way home.